What up, what up, what up? Let me adjust this real quick. I know we a little high. Let's go and adjust this down a little bit. Let's go. There we go. What's going on, everybody? Happy Saturday to you guys. Good morning, good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Um, it's another Conversations with me. So this is an opportunity for you guys to ask questions. I usually try to tell people when they first come into the room, state where they're from, so that way you never know who you can connect with. You guys realize you're from the same area, you guys can connect, so you never know. So it's a great networking opportunity for you guys. So don't forsake saying who you are, where you're from, giving a shout out to your city. It's all that good stuff when you first get in here. This is an opportunity for us to ask questions, for us to talk about guitar related stuff. Or if you got some questions about the industry, you're not really sure about like different kind of routines, how you practice, how you do various things. That's what it's all about. So I definitely want to just make you guys aware of who I am. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Kerry Marshall, aka Kerry Too Smooth. Smooth. I've been playing for a number of years, well over 20, 25 years. I played with the likes of Jason Derulo, Tyrese. I've played with Lettucey. I've worked with Tori Kelly. I played with Chrisette Michelle, Melanie Fiona, and a host of other different kind of artists. So I've had an opportunity to play at the highest level, still playing at the highest level, do a lot of sessions. I've had a lot of major placements. But I'm at a place in my career where I just really want to give back. So that's the reason why I do this, is just to give back. Not trying to gloat, not trying to, act like I'm that guy, but I just want to be able to share the information so the way you guys know who you're talking to, what you're hearing is valuable information. You can use it and apply it to your principles and hopefully help guide you to be successful in your craft, or to play the way that you always wanted to play, to work out to your full potential. So, yeah, so let's go through. I think I've seen a couple. New York is in the house. That's what's up. We got Germany in the house. New Orleans is in the house. Detroit, Michigan is in the house. We have Buffalo. We got a camper. What's up, Mark? We got South Carolina in the building. That's what's up. Tempe, Arizona. Yo, that's what's up. Since my time to practice is shortened, what should I prioritize? Great. If you're thinking about what to prioritize, I would say the areas that you're the weakest in is what you should focus more of your attention and energy on. We got Mississippi in the house. We got Jersey in the house. We got Atlanta in the house. How long do you practice on a regular basis? It just depends if it's going to be for a session, if it's just going to be for my own sake, if it's going to be for rehearsal, for whatever. So practices all vary. But I try to practice throughout the day so the way I can kind of maintain the information that I'm working on. All right. Munich, Germany in the house. New Haven, Connecticut is in the house. How do you figure out the key chords of a song? By listening to it. So you have to get your guitar. I have relative pitch. I don't have perfect pitch. So I get my guitar, I listen to the bass lines and I allow the bass notes to kind of guide me, because every song doesn't have guitar in it. That's what I normally use. Let's do it this way. Okay. Mississippi's in the house. Okay. Okay. Hi, Kerry. Would you set an amp modeler, tone gain, and EQ for a glassy R&B tone using the Telecaster type guitar? Hector, I don't know. Like, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, I trust my ears to let me understand what's the best tone. So that means me going through and finding an amp modeler, then that's what I'll use. But if not, then I'll use what, just a regular amp or plugins. You know what I mean? Just depends. Houston, Texas in the house. So I'm doing this free trial in the camp, and I'm interested in gospel. I do intermediate and then gospel, or go straight for the gospel master class? Ronnie, it just depends on what area that you really want to focus in on. So if you're leaning more towards the gospel stuff, then I would say you want to go and take advantage of that. New Orleans is in the house. Your favorite guitar and why? I'm particularly fond of Jazzmaster style guitars. And the reason why is I like the ability to play down all the way at the bottom of the neck of the guitar. And then tone-wise, I love the tones that they give me. Minneapolis in the house. Is practicing all day too much? No, practicing all day is not too much. Your hands, you may want to give them a rest, but like it's not too much. It just depends on what you do. There've been plenty of times I've been preparing for a tour, for a show. We've had 14-hour days, so that's technically like all day. You have breaks in between, so it just depends on what that you're trying to gain. St. Louis is in the house. I say about 4 to 6 hours. 4 to 6 hours is good. Denny from Long Beach. When I'm playing a lick, sometimes the timing ends up on the wrong beat. How do I practice for that? So you have to start counting, Danny. So if you got a problem with like ending up on the wrong beat, just count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Like just count to 4. Um, did you sticker bomb your guitar? If so, I like to be guided on how to do so. Yeah, I sticker bombed one of my strats, and I just honestly, it was just like I was just sticking them wherever. I was like, oh, that looked like it made me dope there. I heard that once you do it, you should get a clear coat of spray paint, and spray paint the stickers so that way they stay on there the best, and they don't come off. And I haven't had any issues since I've done that. Australia's up in the house, good deal. When you start with a major key, to understand the key. So Joycelyn, I'm always relate everything to the major key so that way I can use the same format and formula. It doesn't matter if the song starts on a minor or not. I want to always relate everything to a major key because when I'm speaking musical language to other musicians, they'll understand exactly what I'm saying. Tennessee is in the house. All right, it says, just started playing. Wanted to play so bad. Any good advice for beginners? Warren, if you really want to learn how to play and you're struggling as a beginner, I would suggest going to kerryscamp.com. That is KERRYSKAMP.com. We can give you a roadmap and help guide you and help lead you to really learn how to unlock the fretboard. All right. Pick that I use a Fender Medium. That's what I use. That's the pick that I use. What gauge of strings do you recommend? I like 10s, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna hold you. I like Diodarios. These are the kind, I'm not endorsed by Diodarios. These are the strings that I just like to play. They make my guitar sound the best, in my opinion. I've tried other brands, but I keep coming back to Diodarios just because I feel the most connected to that sound. Tennessee's in the house. Best way to find other musicians to play music with. You have to network, Dan. So you can find Facebook groups. You can use platforms like YouTube. That's why I say it's important for people to talk about where they're from. Platforms like Instagram. Anytime there's trying to, jam sessions or anything like that sort, or just going out to support other musicians. You never know, you can connect. Oh, Jay Bill, never that, bro. Roll Tide till we die, bro. If you ain't got a helmet, it ain't real. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't got no helmet, that ain't real. If you ain't got no helmet up in the house, you ain't no real fan. All right, I'm sorry I got off key. When people from Alabama that are Auburn fans and start talking noise, I had to jump in real quick. All right. Do you use a pedal board with amps that have presets built into them? Ronnie, I've never used a pedal board with presets in the amp. I take that back. I have. Sometimes I'm filming some stuff or whatever, like back in LA. But for the most part, if I'm on a set, I request for the backline, I request certain kind of amps that don't have presets in them. All right. Is this any way or how to make a capo without a capo? I don't know anything about that. What amp settings do you use? They all vary, Gospel Chops. They all vary. It just depends on the amp. Like I want all of my sounds to be warm, so I'm never trying to do anything that's thin. So whatever that requires, each amp has its own unique phrasing or whatever. I have to go through and tweak each EQ to make sure it sounds the way that I want it to sound. Can you sound good without pedal boards? Yes, you can. There are guitarists like John Jubu Smith who 9 times out of 10 just play straight through the guitar to amp. It sounds great. You don't necessarily need pedals. Pedals kind of help enhance a different kind of sound that you're looking for. Overdrive, you can't really necessarily do that. You can with some amps, but like overdrive pedals are meant for that reverb and delay, but it doesn't make you as a player. Somebody said, Melanie Faye? Yeah, I know Melanie Faye. I know Melanie personally. Like Melanie and I we talk, we've worked together, she's come on my platform of Kerry's Camp and shared with my students. North Carolina's in the house, cool. Do you do any guitar lessons on can you do a guitar lesson on Flood by Lucky Day? I'll add it to the list. I have a lot of songs that are added to the list, but I have to do stuff for the masses. So, do you ever hear clanking coming off your pick when hitting strings? No, because I work on string, pick, integrity, like making sure I'm hitting the right kind of string with my pick. So, but that comes from just really working out and understanding which strings that I'm hitting. Thank you, appreciate your work. Says I want to buy my first pedal. Which pedal would you recommend? You're gonna need to buy more than one pedal, but these are the pedals that I recommend if you're trying to buy pedals. You want to get a good tuner, you want to get a good overdrive pedal, you want to get a good reverb pedal and a good delay. I feel like those are like the foundational pieces for any guitarist. Hey Kelly. Oh, it's Warren, it's Kerry, not Kelly. It might have been a typo. Do you think you can do some R&B neo soul tutorials sometimes? If you go to my website, kerryscamp.com, that's all that I cover is R&B, neo soul, gospel, and R&B. So if you're really looking for that, go to kerryscamp.com. That is KERRYSKAMP.com. And if you stay on this YouTube channel, if you haven't already subscribed, that's mainly all I talk about is R&B. So if you're on the right channel, you just got to start digging a little deeper. Advice for a bass player learning guitar. You already have a good platform if you've already like kind of learned the foundational things. Now you got to get out of the mindset of thinking like a bass player. You got to think like a guitarist. So you got to learn to make those chords. It's really important for you to start making chords and not through. So it's really important. And it's not difficult for you because you have a good sense of music already. So what is the best tuner? I like the TC Electronic tuner. That's what I like. Do you know Juno? Yes, I know Juno very well. Ever played with Juno? We've never played together per se, but we've talked countless times when I met her outside of in Atlanta. I think it was at the Novo. We've talked several times, and then we've talked off the record when I've called her on the phone. So we've had a lot of time to kind of share ideas and talk. It says, okay, no, what I mean is actually a gospel song with a neo soul style. Yeah, there are plenty of gospel songs. Like, I mean, I talk about that. It's the same approach and the same principles, you know? But it just depends because gospel has changed, so it depends on what song you're talking about. But yeah, like if you go to the master course, the master classes, or whatever, I talk about specifically how to do those specific things. Best gig I ever had. Best gig I ever had. I would like to say that's relative, but I want to say the last tour that I've done with Keanu Lede was probably one of my best tours that I had, because the band, everybody felt like family. The artists felt like family. We had some great venues that we played at and some great shows. So I think that was probably my best. Do you think you would have Juno on Kerry's camp? It just depends. I mean, because everybody's schedule is busy, so I have to see what people's schedules are. So like it just depends on how scheduling works. Let's go back. I think I missed a few questions. Advice, we talked about a bass player. Okay. We talked about pedals. We said, do you know Juno? I do. Okay. How do you transition from chord to melody? So it's a timing thing. Everything you got to understand within the music. What are you asked to do? Are you asked to chord or are you asked to play the melody? You just got to know your assignment. Good morning, Kerry. Could you teach some Bobby Womack or Curtis Mayfield? I'll add it to the list. Hey, bro. What's up? What's up? Hey, my friend. Can't forget the day when you jammed together in Guitar Center. Looking forward to another day. Sweet. Let me know if you're in LA. Will do. Okay. Did you sticker bomb your guitar? Yes, I did. So if you did, guided me how to do so clean. So the thing is, I'm a Virgo, so I'm really OCD and I'm really like technical about how I place everything. So you got to make sure geometrically, your geometry. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of that word. I couldn't even think of it. But like, anyway, you got to make sure, like, it's like you're playing Tetris. You got to make sure everything goes the right way it's supposed to go. Then I heard from another person that you got to like use clear coat spray paint in order to make sure they stay on there. And that's what I did. So those are the two things that I did. Thanks. Can you do a tutorial on Let Us See anything? I did, but that's primarily for my students. And I think I did a YouTube video that should be coming out really soon. So I did one that should be coming out really soon because I know that was the song that people were requesting. What's your favorite Taylor? The 714 CE. Geometrically, thank you. I was struggling with that word. Can you play Naked by Market? I'll add it to the list. I watch your old school chords. They remind me of my uncle's playing. Yeah, I mean, that's as a quartet player, that's where you find a lot of those foundation. But that stuff was definitely, it helps you as a guitarist to really work on your timing, your rhythm, because guitar players back in the day were asked to do more, especially in quartet, than a lot of stuff in gospel music, because gospel music is more so like piano and organ centered than it is guitar centered. Can you do a tutorial on how does it feel? I mean, I've done plenty of tutorials on that. What's the best place to start when you're learning theory? Dan, I would highly suggest going to kerryscamp.com. We have a whole course that's set up on the number system to really talk to you about theory so you can understand how all that stuff works. Okay, let's go back. Discovered your channel a few months ago. Love your work. Any advice on applying new techniques to playing? Been playing for about 15 years. So Greg, you want to give yourself grace when you're applying new principles and new techniques. Take it in small doses. So the way you don't feel overwhelmed, don't feel like you're achieving the amount of expectations that you have for yourself. So do it in small doses and you can actually start to achieve success. What's your favorite guitar brand? I don't know that I have a favorite guitar brand because each guitar that I have I have all types of brands and they all serve a purpose and they all can do various things. So I don't know that I have a favorite brand that I'll go to. Ronnie, if you want to become a lifetime member, I suggest emailing support@kerry2smooth.com so that we can keep all of that information together because it kind of gets lost in the sauce on these platforms. So just email support@kerry2smooth.com. I love your tutorial on the Usher song. I appreciate that. Would you start your own guitar company? No, that's not something that I would, because I don't want to build guitars. So I would love to be able to sit and maybe advise people like what I think could work for guitarists, but I don't want to build. That's just not really like my lane, what I want to do. I'm a new camper from Italy. Welcome. Thank you so much. I love your lessons. Appreciate that. What's up, man? Any advice for producing beginner? Yeah, you want to make sure you listen to a lot of records, listen to feels. You want to catch the vibes of like when you're trying to produce. That's one of the things that you want to work on. Do you think strings make a difference opposed to a guitar? Yes, strings definitely make a difference. It all works together. Strings, wood, pickups, they all make a difference. Do you recommend submerging in quartet music? Kendrick, if that's what you want to focus in on, I don't recommend that for everybody because everybody doesn't want to learn quartet music. So it just depends on what's important to you as a guitarist. I only play acoustic fingerstyle. Any advice or strings or string gauge? So this is what I play for acoustic. I knew that question was going to come up. Diodario's. I play 11s on acoustic because I like the way that they ring out. So that's what I like. Kerry, you are my best friend. Been following you since you started. Oh man, I appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Let's go through and look at some more of these questions. What style of music do you listen to that you were surprised you liked? All right, so knowing that I started out as a gospel cat and quartet cat, I was surprised that I liked pop music and I like singer-songwriter music and I like some kind of jazz fusion music. So I was surprised that I liked stuff outside of like kind of what I was comfortable with when I first started. On your Strat, are you usually playing in the neck position? It just depends, DJ. So like it depends on how I'm feeling and also the style of music. So sometimes I'll play in the neck position, sometimes I'll play in the middle position, or I'll play in the fourth position. How do you stay motivated to practice every day? It's just like challenging yourself, like, listening to new music, understanding there's stuff that you want to learn and giving yourself grace and realize it's a new thing that you want to learn. It's a new concept. So not like feeling overwhelmed. So just taking it piece by piece, dissecting it and realizing it's something that you want to do. What guitar would you recommend for gospel playing? I feel like Strats are really good. PRSs are really good. Those are really some really unique sounds. Jonathan Dubose has kind of made the Strat legendary for gospel music. Same with, what's his name? Rick Wofford. Yeah, he's definitely made gospel music really impressionable with the Strat. Other than your YouTube lessons, do do live Zooms. So Kendrick, if you want to become a member of Kerry's Camp, that's where I do majority of my lessons at. You can go to kerryscamp.com. That's KERRYSKAMP.com for more lessons. It says, how do you stick to an effective practice routine? I feel like I stopped improving. So if you feel like you stopped improving, you may have just plateaued, and that's okay. Going to like a platform like carriescamp.com, where we give you a roadmap of stuff that you should be progressing with. Sometimes you just don't know. So having a roadmap like we do in carriescamp.com, that'll help kind of shape you and show you where you need to go. So that's camp with a K. So that's KERRYSKAMP.com. Could you please do some quartet tutorials, because they're basically no. So Nay, if you go to my website, carriescamp.com, there's a gospel guitar masterclass where we talk about quartet. I have some guitar players that specialize in quartet playing, that it'll kind of help show you where you need to learn and grow in your craft. I do understand how the relative pitch works. I hear musicians say, I have the song going from the 4 to the 5. I don't understand what you're listening for. So when you're listening for the 4 and the 5, they're talking about the numbers that are in the number system. That's why it's really important to understand the number system. That's why you should go to carriescamp.com and really take that course and really just submerge yourself in the number system, because they're talking about which chords they're playing. So 4 and 5 are both major chords. So knowing what key you're in will kind of help shape like what chord you should play for that particular progression. Do you collab with other YouTube guitar channels? I have not yet collabed with other guitar channels, but like on my Instagram, I do a lot of collabs from time to time with other guitarists. So you can follow me at Kerry2Smooth on Instagram. And then if there's something that you want to do, we can do collabs. So that's something that I'm definitely open into. What was the first guitar you ever owned? It was some guitar from Sears, man. Like my parents bought me like this red Sears guitar. I don't even know the name of the brand, and an amp, a little small amp to go with. That's the first guitar I've ever owned. Your video on the number system has really helped me out. Thank you. Do you experiment with alternate tuning? I've only done drop D a couple times for a couple records that I've done, just to kind of like give a different kind of dissonance for when we were recording songs, but I like standard tuning. Okay. What's your dream guitar? I got my eye on a guitar right now. It's a Tom Anderson guitar that I'm looking at. I'm looking at this Raven. I think that's my dream guitar, because that's the next guitar I want. So how do you spell Jonathan Dubose? Dubose. So it's Dubose. Jonathan Dubose. Alec. You think Merry Go Round is a good song to try to figure out some R&B guitar? It's a good song when you're trying to figure out how to solo, to understand the principles of soloing, like learning how to play the melody. If you want to try to solo with R&B, you want to listen for melody. That's why I chose to teach that song, Mary Had a Little Lamb, because it helps you with the foundations for figuring out how to solo. Merry Go Round, if you're talking about the one by Music Soul Child, it's a very complicated song to kind of submerge yourself into really thinking about R&B. There's various phases of R&B, so it just depends on what you're thinking about. What happened to Marty Schwartz? What do you mean what happened to him? Did something happen to him? I'm confused. When singer/playing, would you begin with vocals only or chords melody first? It all depends. I think having a good foundation with chords, so that way you can kind of figure out what kind of melody, but you should have a melody idea of how you want it to flow over the bed of chords that you've already laid. Do you like Gretsch guitars? Have you played any? Yeah, I played a few Gretsch back in the day. It's not really like my vibe. Not that they're not good guitars, it's not really, there's no place for it right now in my catalog of guitars that I have. Also, if you guys are brand new to this channel, go and subscribe and click the bell to be notified, because I'm hopping on here from time to time doing lessons. But yeah, Gretsch guitars are cool. They're made by Fender. So it's just it's like a sister company, but there's nothing that from Gretsch right now that really fits in my catalog of guitars that I need. Lovely guitars. It says, Can you do a tutorial on Holy by Lisa? I'll add it to the list, Warren. I mean, I have a lot of songs that I need to, get to at some particular time, but I'll add it to the list. Have you ever heard an Ernie Isley Zell signature guitar? I never heard of any guitar by Ernie Isley. The model PRS you would recommend. I like the Custom 22. I like the DGT. I like the Piezo. PRS has a lot of different cool brands. I like the 408, the 409. I like the 513. How do you get gigs for guitar? Because I don't hear anyone who wasn't a guitarist. How do you get gigs for guitar? Because I don't hear anyone who wasn't a guitarist. Most of my gigs came from word of mouth, right? I've either played at some venues and some people have seen me perform and they were like, yo, I got a gig if you're down. And then we talk logistics. We talk, if it makes sense. So most of my gigs are word of mouth because they've seen me play or they've heard me play or people have recommended me. A lot of gigs have come from that particular way. Some gigs do come from kettle calls when you have auditions where you got to go and they're just like, it's a whole bunch of guitars from literally all over the world and you got to audition. Some gigs that come from that. So there's just various ways that you can get gigs. How long do you practice on average? It just depends. I mean, sometimes I'll practice in the morning. I may practice for 3 hours straight, take a break, come back later on in the afternoon, in the evening, continue to keep practicing. Just depends. Blessings to everyone. Hope everyone stays safe. Yes, sir. Remember Parker by Parker Flag Guitars? Yeah, I do. I used to like Parker Flag Guitars. Like I always wanted one because there was one that was like a quilted babinga. And I thought that like, yo, that sounds like dope, that kind of wood, but I never pulled the trigger on it. And the guitarist for Mint Condition used to play one. So of course that made me like fond of that. It says, how do you get so knowledgeable about equipment? Time, Matthew, time, and then just submerging yourself into that culture of like listening and understanding what works and what doesn't work, what sounds good, what doesn't sound good. What's the most you would spend on a guitar? It just depends, let's get it. It just depends. Some guitars warrant me spending like $3 grand. Some guitars only warrant me spending like 800. It just depends. Or some guitars, if I can work a deal out with the brand, I'll try to get it at an artist price or for free. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I try to use my influence as much as I possibly can, but it just is what it is. I don't mind spending my money for something that I like or that I want. You saw me playing D'Angelico and you brought one? Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. How do I add more sauce and vibe to fingerstyle acoustic? L Vegan Angel, if you go to kerryscamp.com, I have courses that'll show you how to add the sauce. We have an acoustic R&B course that are definitely kind of like point you in the direction that you're looking for. That will give you the tools to be successful. So I highly suggest going to Kerry's Camp. That is KERRYSKAMP.com and looking at the acoustic R&B course. Thanks. Do either of your two boys play? My oldest doesn't play guitar. He's taking piano lessons. I did with my oldest, force him to like guitar, and it didn't work out. So I've learned from him to not force my kids to try to play guitar. If they want to learn, I'm here at their disposal. But they're into other things outside of guitar. Do you have a crazy story from being out on tour that you want to share with us? When I started playing with this one R&B artist, I say this, whenever you're covering for somebody or somebody's giving you a gig to like cover for them, they should introduce you to the artist before you get on stage with them. And I didn't have that opportunity for one artist that I played for that I sub with. And it was, let's just say it wasn't the greatest experience that it could have been. So I would say that if you're having a guy sub for you or whatever, you should definitely make the introduction to whoever the MD is or the artist so that way they know who it is. Then I get on stage looking back like, yo, who is that? So you should definitely do that. That's what I'll say. I'll leave it at that. Are you the only teacher on Kerry's Camp? Yes, I happen to be the only teacher on Kerry's Camp. But we do have master classes where and I stretch out and I'll ask other people to come on and teach specific things in those, especially in the gospel master class. We have something called Kerry's Corner, where we have like a lot of the industry's best guitarists and social media best guitarists, where we'll ask them questions. Like it's like an interview style. So there's a lot of material from not just me, but from other people. But I am the main teacher on Kerry's Camp. What about issues when with using a pick and being more efficient with it? As you know, basses are used to getting the sound from one hand. So Kendrick, if you're having issues with that, it's just one of those things that you have to learn to apply the principle. So taking it time by time, working on string by string so you can work on that hand-eye coordination. That's what you need to do. No, my wife is not a musician and she's not in that field. She's into film and radio and TV. That's what her background is in. What are you playing? Since when you're playing on a track and it doesn't have guitar, how would you approach adding guitar parts with lines or comping, etc.? So I want to listen to the arrangement. So based upon the arrangement, can my chords add color and texture? Does it require me to play rhythm? I want to trust my ears in the process. And then if you're talking to the artist, ask them specifically what they would like. Yo, I could do this kind of vibe. Do you like that kind of vibe? So you can help me paint the picture, so a little bit better. So ask more questions. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you what song that you played with Tori Kelly. I played Sunday, all of her gospel stuff. If you go on YouTube right now, look at all her gospel stuff. You'll see me playing. Just as Sure, that's me on acoustic. I don't even remember the name of the song, but type in Tori Kelly and Kirk Franklin. You'll see me on guitar. Are there still styles or techniques you want to learn to get better at? Right now, I'm comfortable in the styles that I want to play because that's really all that I do. I'm not trying to go out and learn anything different or new at the moment because I haven't necessarily, in my opinion, like there's so much to learn in the styles and the genres that I do play that I haven't conquered those things. I'm always working on techniques to get better. Do all studio sessions musicians need to be able to read? No. Peace and blessings to all Black Lives Matter respect. Yeah, so that's a common question. People ask, do you need to be able to read? No, you don't. Reading is not important for all sessions or certain sessions. I mean, there's a lot of sessions that I do that don't require any reading. I think I've had one session where they've actually given me charts. And outside of that, I've been playing for over 25 years and I've played with a lot of different people. Every artist does not give you charts. Now, what I've seen and what I've gauged, there are some late night TV shows that they do charts that you have to be able to read. But outside of that, I have not seen. Now, if you do a lot of jazz, they may give you charts. But R&B, gospel, they're not giving you a lot of charts. They just give you a Dropbox, give you a link to a song that you got to learn. This is the arrangement, and you guys just got to learn it. That just is what it is. You just got to have a strong ear, be able to dissect the song and chart it out yourself and learn it. But nobody's really giving you charts. So reading is good, but it's not necessary. Not at all if you want to play at the highest level. What amp would you recommend? So it just depends. I love Bad Cat amps. Like the Lynx is just my favorite. Quilter makes some really good stuff. Mesa Boogie makes some really good stuff. Fender makes some really good stuff. It just depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for pop gigs, I say Marshalls are the best. Mesa Boogie rectifiers are really good. So it just depends on what you're trying to do with these amps. How do you personally transcribe a song you learn by ear? You have to sit down and go section by section and chart it out however you hear it and write down what you hear and play what you hear. How do you make your ears stronger, Reggie? You can go to kerryscamp.com. We have ear training that's going to definitely help you and show you how to use your ear in order to get familiar. And we have different kind of, me playing chord progressions, you got to be able to hear it, grab your guitar and be like, oh, okay, I can identify what he's playing. That's how you're going to be able to help get your ear strong. Can you do videos on playing melodically? If you want to know how to play melodically, you can go to kerryscamp.com. That is KERRYSKAMP.com. We have courses that'll show you specifically how to do that. Yes, me too. I just wanted to play Neo Soul style. If you want to play the neo soul style, you just go to kerryscamp.com. That all those principles are in there that are going to show you. Neo soul is just new R&B. That was a term that some A&R exec kind of just coined. It's just R&B that's just become more modern. But you can go to kerryscamp.com, and all the courses are going to really help shape you and show you how to play those chords that are necessary in order to play that specific genre. So yeah, man, you guys have asked some great questions this Saturday morning. Yep. Let's go back in. Are you familiar with Chalmers Alford? Yes, I'm familiar with Spanky Alford. Spanky is the guy that has really kind of helped shape a lot of us guitar players that play my specific style, like palette for music. So yeah. How about Tomo? I'm familiar with him. I've never met him in person, but yeah, I'm familiar with him as well. So basically, fretboard, I need to learn it back and front. You don't necessarily need to learn it back and front, but it helps you to understand what you're playing. Because like for me, for many years, I didn't know what I was playing. I just knew the vibes. I couldn't, if you asked me the chord, I didn't know. So it's really important that you start to learn that, but you don't necessarily need it in order to start playing. But in order to figure out what you're playing, you definitely need to know it. Jaguar, Jazzmasters, or Mustang, which one would you recommend? Jazzmaster for R&B, hands down. You ever been put in a situation where you couldn't play what they asked? No, I've never been put in a situation. I'm strong enough and I'm confident enough in my abilities. Even if it was a song I didn't know, I could know how to kind of get around it if I was ever in a situation like that. But most of the situation I'm always rehearsed for, or if it's like a song or something that I'm not familiar with, I have enough tools in my toolbox to be able to kind of get around it and kind of navigate it to make you seem or think that, oh, I know he didn't really know it, but he played it well enough to where we can kind of get through it. When you first started playing in front of people, were you nervous? Yes, I was super nervous. My legs used to shake like a leaf in the wind. You know what I'm saying? Is it one price for your course? So if you have a question about the price of Kerry's Camp, please email support@kerry2smooth.com, because a lot of times these questions get lost and I don't know who to go back to. So go email support@kerry2smooth.com if you have any kind of questions about the courses for Kerry's Camp price-wise. I'm a beginner and I'm having trouble with practicing. I get bored fast. Any tips? Dot 2227, go to kerryscamp.com and let me help you. We have roadmaps that are definitely going to help keep the guitar learning fresh, because I'm always adding content to the site daily, weekly to help you get better. And we give you a roadmap that's going to help kind of shape how you should be able to play, how you should be learning, so you don't get stagnant or bored in your playing. You and Jubu are literally my two favorite guitarists. Joseph, I really appreciate that. Just curious, do you think you could ever have too many guitars? You probably could, because if you're not playing them, then you probably have too many guitars. Now, most of the guitars in my arsenal I play. There's like maybe one or two that I don't play often, and then I'm thinking about maybe downsizing it at some time. You know what I mean? Because that's just the way that I am. If I'm not using it, I'm not gonna keep it just for whatever. I like to use the stuff that I have. I appreciate you doing this. I never really had a mentor to help me progress in the guitar. Anxious and excited to see how good I can really become. Oh man, that's what's up, Ronnie. I have too many now. Yo, if you got too many now, I would go through and see which ones that you don't use, and then like you could sell them. You could sell them, or if you want to keep them for keepsakes and pass them down, I mean, that's always an option. But there's two guitars specifically that I'm looking at right now that I'm like, man, I don't really play them all that much. So, you know, maybe it might be time to kind of downsize a little bit. So, yeah. PDA, or PSA, I should say. For those that are looking to try to go further in their craft as a guitarist, you should definitely go to kerryscamp.com. We have roadmaps that will help any beginner, any intermediate, or any advanced guitarist learn how to navigate and grow in their craft. I know we all reach plateaus and we all kind of like level out at times, or we have like ruts. So sometimes you need a guidance or a little push or a boost. And then for there, I could be your mentor. And then we do live monthly Q&As that'll help you grow as a guitarist. From time to time, we'll have different guitarists come on, whether they be like in the industry or they may be a social media guitarist that has a lot of influence, and have them kind of do like an interview style while we ask them questions. We open up the platform to the students to be able to ask questions, stuff that you're not going to get from any other site, from any other platform. And my goal is to help guitars, because I remember being on the other side. I was in the crowd. I wasn't on the stage always, and just wanting to know information and could never get it. And I always told myself as I got to a place in my career that I wanted to give back, and this is how I'm doing that. So take advantage, please. Practical and resourceful. Virgo, definitely. Have you been interested in any vintage guitars or amps? I'm not that guy. I really don't care about how old something is, and that doesn't excite me. Like a Strat from the 50s and the 60s, I don't care. Like, doesn't matter. That doesn't, in my opinion, that's not gonna make it sound sweeter. I could buy pickups and put them in a guitar and make it sound sweet. So I'm not one of these guys that likes to collect vintage or antique types of material. I want a guitar that's gonna play, that sounds great, that looks great, that feels great. How often do you get together as a group? Once a month. Is there any chat rooms in Kerry's camp? Yes, there's a chat room in Kerry's camp where the members can vibe and chill. Yep, that's all in Kerry's camp. Where should I start for music composition? Been playing for 10 years by ear, but would like to sound more professional. I would suggest going to kerryscamp.com and let me help you. We help advanced guitarists all the time sound more professional in their playing. So when they're starting to comp and do studio stuff or whatever, that's what we do. I find it very difficult to figure out the single line notes played in funk rhythm by ear. Any help? You can go to kerryscamp.com, and we really, like, I'm serious, like we help spell out a lot of that stuff that'll show you how to like hear various things and learn how to play what you're hearing. I see you're highly motivated to see guitarists grow in their craft. Yes, definitely. Your motivation factor to keep you motivated. I'm motivated not just because of that. I'm motivated just because I'm motivated. I like helping more than anything. But I know the real joys that you get from just playing guitar. Like if you've ever seen me play guitar, like especially on Instagram Live or just on Instagram, you can see the joy in my face. I love what I do. So I want to give that joy to other people. So yeah, maybe it does help with the motivation. Wow, just sign up for your course. Love it. Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. Getting my 21st guitar, PRS 35th anniversary. Love playing them all. That's what's up. I truly appreciate you giving back. That's what's up. How long do you spend listening to one specific song to get it right, especially songs where guitar are doing a lot? It just depends. Like if I got to play it live, then I'm going to spend as much time to make sure I got it locked in. If I'm just listening to it for the sake of listening to it, I mean, I might listen to it for a couple hours and try to jump in. If it's a little challenging, I might just take some notes, put like a comma, come back to it, so it just depends. At any point of your time, have you ever relied on books or DVDs? I did early in my craft, but they're not reliable for me, so no. I've been stuck in the hospital for nearly 4 months now, and I don't remember not playing or even holding a guitar this long. I've lost the mojo. It's like riding a bike. You may be lost, but once you get it back in your hands and you start to kind of familiarize yourself with it, it'll slowly but surely start to come back. I promise you. I've tried to subscribe to Kerry's Camp, but I'm having problems. David, email support@kerrytosmooth.com. I'm a camper. Is there a place that I can ask a specific question about your videos? Yes, Brandon, there is. But if you're having troubles, then I would suggest emailing Kerry, support@kerrytosmooth.com. I'm sorry, I'm a little tired. Support@kerrytosmooth.com, and then they will help you to know exactly where to go to ask your questions. David, if you have any questions about the cost of Kerry's Camp, email support@kerrytosmooth.com, so that way I can figure out who asked the question or whatever, because if you do it right here, I lose track because there's so many questions that keep coming in on a live situation. I've never had R&B. I've never heard R&B and then randomly found one of your videos. I've been playing and practicing since February. Thank you so much. That's what's up, Ryan. Brandon, do you see that? You use the it says contact form inside of Kerry's camp. All right, I'm gonna field one more question and then I have to get ready to go. Because it's Saturday. It just stopped raining over here, so I got a couple errands I need to run today. I hope that you guys are enjoying yourselves on this lovely Saturday. Fall is upon us. I hope that you guys are having a great time. And yeah, we'll take one more question and then we will land this plane for today. Okay. Honestly, love what you're doing. Love that you're doing this. Oh, I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate it. I mean, listen, it's coming from a genuine place. I'm not looking for anything but just to help. I mean, honestly, that's what it's all about. It's just to help you guys grow in your crafts because I know what it feels like to have those freedoms, to be able to play anything you want, play melodies that you hear, be able to put your own spin on something. Like this stuff is really cool. You know what I mean? So, all right. Well, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to skedaddle. Love you guys. You guys keep doing what you're doing. Continue to keep growing in your craft. If you want to try to continue to keep growing and you're looking for a place that's going to help you grow, I highly suggest going to kerryscamp.com. It's definitely going to help give you the roadmap and the tools to be successful in your craft. And it's a community. It's not just, me just telling whatever. You get a community of people. You get a chance to chat with other people. You get a chance to grow in your craft. You get a chance to network. And then we invite other accomplished guitarists on, and then other people that are in the industry or social media presence, and ask them on so we can ask them questions. We can sit at their feet. Now, you're not going to get that at any other site or any other platform because it just doesn't happen. And people don't have those kind of relationships. Like, use my relationships. I got a lot of relationships with a lot of guitarists in the industry. And I'm able to touch people and ask for favors and have people do various things for me. So take advantage. That's what it's all about. Love you guys. Enjoy yourselves and stay safe.